Blue Lock. Do I need to say any more? What's up, you guys? Tito in Japan, not in Japan yet, here to review Blue Lock. So, as you may all know, Blue Lock is one of the hottest up and coming sports animes of this year, and it was very big last year as well. So, I'm very excited to talk about it. I was gonna give my 2 cents because I've now pretty far up in the manga, just finished season 2, super great. This episode is gonna be free of spoilers, but I will be discussing the plot, different themes, the pacing, just character development and stuff. It's gonna be great. So, the plot basically entails a group of high schoolers playing soccer who end up going to what is called the Blue Lock. They, at this location, as you would call it, end up training and joining teams where they then build their egoism. And egoism is just like their drive to be the best at what they do. And in this case, they are all strikers or forwards in soccer. So that's the basic premise. I'm sure if y'all have seen even just one episode of it or even understand kind of the basics off of what other people have said, you will know what I'm talking about. But I really want to talk about my favorite part about it, and that's the theme. A lot of sports animes will be covering themes of like teamwork, friendship, stuff like if you play your best with the team, you will succeed. However, Blue Lock takes that narrative and kind of goes, turns it 180. And they're like, you want to be the best single player out there. Nobody, you shouldn't care about nobody. You don't need to play for the team. You just need to perform the best that you are individually. And that is a concept that I absolutely love. It is such a game changer for a lot of things. And this could apply to any sport, even sports that are heavily team related. And my biggest takeaway with this is how do you want to incorporate the lessons that Blue Lock is teaching? So, like, having an egoism and a drive to do something to better yourself, having like people around you that will better you, but also not hinder you in a negative way. All this stuff is very, very interesting, and I love the theming of Blue Lock for this. Very cool, very awesome, and I love it. Now, I also want to cover the pacing and the storytelling. This is a very well paced manga, in my opinion. It starts off with the characters kind of the slowly developing their egoism to be the best striker as it is, and to be the best, and you kind of see it progress through the story. So it'll progress and it'll progress, and they keep learning something, they do something new, they have a moment where they shine, and that drives their egoism further and further and further. So that is amazing. I love the pace that it takes it, and as you get further and further, the stuff that they start to learn, it just gets better and better and better, and it just furthers the game and enhances their play even more with each passing chapter, basically. So overall, pacing, storytelling, I love it. It's great. There's a lot of cool moments later on in the manga when you hit the NEL. For those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't, go read the manga or even just watch the Blue Lock anime and finish season 2. It'll explain you guys will know what the NEL is by the end of it for sure. But a lot of great storytelling. I love the development. I love the pacing. Super, super good. I want to move on to some of my favorite parts, and that is the characters. The characters range from absolutely like amazingly written to some of the ones that I don't really care for, and it has such a great mix of personalities, such a great mix of characters, people that have different play styles, people that think one way over the other, people who want to take leadership from somebody else. It's absolutely impeccable. Obviously, I'm going to talk about some of the main stars, starting with my boy Isagi Yoichi. Oh my goodness. Great main character. He has the drive. He has just everything that a main character in a sports anime would need to drive themselves to be better than everybody else. His development has been the most dramatic, I would want to say, since the start of this manga. It is one of the best, if not one of my favorite sports manga characters, main characters, and he is just written so well over the course of the manga. I can't recommend it enough. He's one of, favorite characters of all time. Great, hands down. You have other characters that I also just love their writing for. I love their play styles. They're everything. My next pick for best character would have to be Bachira Meguru, and again, just phenomenal writing on this character. He he can get as serious as Isagi, but he has a different tone about himself where he's more carefree, he's more lax, and he just has a different play style to Isagi that works for what his character is. Another beautifully written character in the story. And I guess I'll just throw in another one who I personally really like, and that would be my guy. And this is gonna come out of left field, especially for those of you that haven't watched any Blue Lock yet or read any of it yet. My boy Nico. What a phenomenal, well written character. He goes from being like this super brainsy guy who kind of just sat in the back and set up all the plays to being a guy who could make those plays for himself, and then becoming one of the most goated defenders. This is like his arc of progressing is crazy. He goes from one thing to the next to the next to the next, and he's one of the only characters that can rival Isagi in terms of like vision, in terms of like seeing what's going on the court. So he's gotta be one of my favorite characters in the show. I want to see more of him. He shows up quite often, but I wish he showed up a little more. He's awesome. I love that character. Love that character. So now that I've covered some characters, I want to cover some of the character relationships. These characters, depending who it is, it's seen throughout all of the manga. You have some characters that mesh well together and mix well and have great synergy, and you have some that will literally try to like take down one another, and in that aspect, them trying to rival it out actually further enhances their play, even if they're on the same team, which is super crazy, super awesome. I would recommend just go read it. You have to go read it to understand how these relationships works and how well the dynamics between these characters interlaps. It's so good. One last thing I want to cover is the tone and the atmosphere of the manga. It is absolutely hyped all throughout the manga. There are no dull moments. Like there's moments where you have characters talking, but as soon as that talking's all over, we get into the next game and stuff, it just gets so hectic, so crazy. It hypes you up. It makes you want to go play soccer. It is one of the most fascinating like reactions you can get to just reading this manga or even just seeing the anime. Now I know this is manga review, but if you want to see the anime, go see the anime. It's just as good. Especially season 2, especially the end of season 2. Beautiful, beautifully written, beautifully animated, but that's not what I'm here for today. The tones and atmosphere in the manga going onwards even farther are immaculate. You can feel the suspense, you can feel the hype, you can feel just when a character is about to grow and pass their limits and learn something new, and it goes crazy. I'm just gonna wrap this video up. I've gotten most of what I wanted to say out about it, and I'm just gonna give you guys some of my final thoughts. So some of the strengths of this manga, for those of you that want to read it, it excels at keeping your attention. It excels at hyping you up. It just excels at making you want to play soccer. So the characters are so interactive. The plot drives it forward. It's so good. It makes it really, really great read, honestly, and a great watch. It just has so many working components for it that I love, and it just keeps driving it forward and forward and forward, and it makes it so like you can't stop reading. You'll pick it up, you'll get 10 chapters in, and you'll want to read the next like 200 or whatever that comes up. It is a great read. It instantly attracts you, especially from the start. It is absolutely phenomenal. Is there some weaknesses? I would say there definitely is some weaknesses, and those kind of would just depend. One of the weaknesses for me is there's times where something is happening in the manga and maybe it's a little hard to follow because of certain ways things are drawn, because you can also only draw it so much and make it look a certain way to a certain point before it kind of gets confusing. So in that aspect, certain parts certain parts that aren't animated might seem a little weird to the eye at first, but outside of that, I would say the manga overall is great. There's not really that many negative things I would want to say about it, just because I've been enjoying it so far and it's been so good. So I'm sure there's some more weaknesses to show up as you read it and as you take your personal opinion into it. So kind of just go in with an open mind first, see how you like it. I very much like it, so I very much recommend it. It's got more strengths than I would say weaknesses for sure. And to wrap it up all the way, if I had to give Blue Lock a rating on a 1 to 10, I would give it a 9. It's near perfect. I would say there's maybe a few things that could change, but it is so, so good. It is near perfect. I have no other rating to give it but a 9 out of 10. And it's well deserving that. I can't wait to see how it keeps progressing onward because it's just getting crazier and crazier in the manga. I'm looking very forward to that, and it's going to be great. With that, I've given up my final thoughts. I've wrapped this video up. And again, thank you guys for watching, like you always do. Let me know what you think about Blue Lock in the comments below. Let me know if you've read it, if you haven't read it. I just kind of want to know where everyone's at with it. And I want to know what y'all expect coming out of it. Is it going to be one of the most goated anime in 2025 too? Or is it going to be maybe a flop? I don't know. So far, from what the manga's showing, I think it's going to be an absolute banger. It's going to dominate 2025. It's going to be great. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next manga review or whatever the next video may be. See you guys. Peace.